Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. If one thing has come out of the COVID inquiry, it's that people are now aware that they were deleting the WhatsApp messages and that people aren't happy with it. And thankfully, they're learning their lessons and they are no longer deleting those WhatsApp messages. That would be quite wrong and they would know it. And so I'm sure that, to do anything other than retain them from now on would be the order of the day, you'd think. Of course, everything I've just said is rubbish. They're still deleting them. Right now, they are still deleting WhatsApp messages. Do these people not learn anything? Why are they still even using WhatsApp? Why are they not being forced to use official channels? It's got to be a law now. They have to bring in a law that this is no longer acceptable, that all communications go through official means and all records are kept permanently and are available for inspection. There should be no government by WhatsApp, and it needs to have a very harsh penalty indeed should anyone be found doing it. And I suggest you start at 5 years. That, of course, would concentrate the mind wonderfully of these people, wouldn't it? Anyway, we'll take a look at this and see what's going on. Here goes. So, SNP government and officials are still deleting WhatsApps and informal messages despite 2 probes lingering over it. And of course, the Information Commissioner, we did the story about the Information Commissioner. He's launching a probe into the use of WhatsApps. He says it shouldn't be a thing. And yet they're still doing it because they're still doing it now while it's not wrong to do it. It's not right to do it, but it's not illegal to do it. Because even to this day, they don't want the truth to be available. They don't want anyone knowing the shadiness of what they are doing, which is why, of course, they use WhatsApps. And, of course, this must absolutely be made a very harshly punished crime for any politician to use anything other than official channels. And if they don't like it, they can always resign. Why do they need to be shady? Why do they need to hide? They're always telling us that if we have nothing to hide, then we have nothing to fear. Well, let's turn tables and say exactly the same thing to them. Humza Yousaf announced his own external probe into SNP ministers and civil servants' use of informal messages, as did the Information Commissioner. But Scottish Government staff will continue to follow guidance to delete them while this is ongoing. That's simple. Right now, change the guidance. Humza Yousaf can do it. He can say, right, we are changing the guidance. All must be retained. There you go, done. But he won't do that. Of course he won't do that, because he knows there's too much evidence of wrongdoing, of malfeasance, of ineptitude. You can forgive stupidity. Everyone does stupid things from time to time. It's human nature. We all do it. And for someone to make a mistake, that's forgivable. They come and say, look, I've done this. I'm such an idiot. I apologise. Let me try and fix it. And that's fine. Okay, that's fine. At least I'm aware of it and go and fix it. I was a boss. I had people. They would make mistakes. And the rule I had is, if you make a mistake, I don't care, but tell me and then we can fix it. Don't try and hide it. And don't let it be that I find your mistake. If you make a mistake, tell me and we can sort it. That's all I ask. Because we know mistakes get made. That's life. But this isn't mistakes. Where they make a mistake, you forgive them. This isn't mistakes. This is deliberate policy. This is deliberately deleting things that they know people won't want them to delete. They know that they're doing things and saying things that people will find appalling. And that's why they're deleting it. They're not deleting errors. They're not deleting evidence of mistakes. They're deleting potential court evidence, prosecutorial evidence. That's what they're deleting. And that has got to be a crime. Anyway, Scottish Government ministers and officials are still being told to delete all their informal messages and WhatsApps, despite 2 probes being launched into this behaviour. The SNP executive have been in hot water this year after being accused of operating a culture of secrecy and cover-up. But they always have, ever since the party was formed. It was formed on the basis of secrecy because no one must ever know. Revelations at the UK COVID inquiry compounded these accusations after Nicola Sturgeon, John Swinney, and her two health advisors, Jason Leach and Gregor Smith, confirmed that they wiped their messages regularly as they claimed it was official guidance to do so. It cannot be. This is destruction of evidence. This policy was introduced by the Scottish Government in November 2021, which was in the midst of the pandemic and after Miss Sturgeon promised the world that she would keep all her relevant messages after a UK inquiry was announced. It spells out new rules for the informal messaging systems such as WhatsApp. Officials and ministers are allowed to use these apps to conduct business, but the guidance reads that you must transcribe the salient points of any business discussions and or decisions in a mobile messaging app into an email or text document, and this should then be saved centrally. No, either ban it outright or you go to jail. If you use it, you go to jail. And once they see 2 or 3 people popping off a quick 5 years in Barlinnie, that'll change. It was a point argued repeatedly by SNP ministers who appeared in front of the inquiry, with leading counsel Jamie Dawson getting guarantees from witnesses that all salient messages were saved centrally. And I just don't believe it. I absolutely don't believe it. But questions were raised about why Scottish Government officials should be able to decide what correspondence is relevant and what isn't. Indeed, it should be up to the inquiry to decide what is relevant. Everything should be presented and let the inquiry decide that is irrelevant, that's irrelevant, that is relevant, and so forth. Some of the messages provided to the probe proved damning, as senior civil servants encouraged fellow officials to regularly wipe messages, and at that moment, conspiracy to delete and erase evidence. That is absolutely a massively punishable crime. It's a serious crime. Ken Thompson, who was the former Director of Strategy and External Affairs, was collared for writing, "Just to remind you seriously that this is discoverable under an FOI. You must know where the clear chat button is." So he knew that this would be potential evidence, and he told people to delete. Conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, conspiracy to destroy evidence. Both of them carry life sentences. I'd like to see Ken Thompson in a court charged with both of these things and given a life sentence, and then say to other people, do you want to do the same? All of a sudden, you'd find that nobody was deleting anything. In the correspondence, the former senior civil servant used the phrase, "This information you requested is not held centrally," which is the stock excuse for the Scottish Government when refusing FOI requests. He denied that this advice was an attempt to hide from scrutiny when he was grilled about it. Well, of course he's going to deny it, but that doesn't make it so. Of course he was attempting to hide evidence, destroy evidence, avoid scrutiny, did not want to be accountable because he knew how bad it would be. Anyway, these concerning messages sparked the Scottish Information Commissioner, that's David Hamilton, to officially launch his own probe into whether the SNP executive were attempting to circumvent freedom of information rules. David Hamilton said the evidence he heard raises significant practice concerns which warrant further investigation by my office, he said. USAF also announced another external probe into the use and deletion of messages hours before he appeared as a witness at the COVID inquiry. But a spokesman for him revealed that the policies that are in place, confirming that officials will still be deleting informal messages despite concerns surrounding it, as the investigations have yet to start. It's quite simple. The Cabinet Office, the head of the Civil Service, the Cabinet Secretary, informs all civil servants that with immediate effect, no messages on WhatsApp are to be deleted, and should they do so, it's an immediate sackable offence. And for politicians, the law has got to come in that if they use WhatsApp, it's jail. If they use anything other than official communication methods, it's jail. And that is the only way things are going to change. Coming up. Now, I think everyone who deleted needs to be charged with the destruction of evidence and perversion of the course of justice. they are serious charges. Like I say, they can carry up to life sentences. I don't think we're going to get life sentences for them, but even a couple of years. A couple of years would be nice for them. But Ken Thompson, now that's worse. That is a very serious, because that isn't just doing it yourself. That's encouraging others to do it. That's a conspiracy charge. And that is much, much more serious a crime. And that must carry a very hefty sentence. And he's undoubtedly done it. He's admitted it. He's admitted he has broke the law. Why have the police not arrested him? Why has the Procurator Fiscal not issued charges? Other than the fact that she dared. Because if she charges him, she knows she can't stop. There are many, many others that will need charging. And some of them will run straight back to her own door. And that is why Ken Thompson is going to get away with breaking the law. It's bad and it needs to change. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button. Massively helps. Hit the like, hit the share, and I will speak to you later. Bye.